There will always be innovators that work against trends, innovators that think outside the box, giving us consoles like the Nintendo Switch, or cars like Teslas, or bullpup weapon designs, which is what we're going to be talking about here today. A bullpup is a firearm with its action being behind the trigger. So your magazine, extractor, and firing mechanism are all packed behind your trigger. This design allows you to use longer barrels but still maintain a compact package. Here are some examples of bullpups so you can paint a picture in your head and see if you recognize any. The FAMAS is one of the most popular bullpups in all of gaming. It's a French rifle that I won't talk too much about because I have an entire other video dedicated to discussing it in detail. Although not the first bullpup rifle, the AUG was the first to be taken seriously on the world stage. Designed in 1977 and adopted by militaries in 1978, the AUG made an impression with its reliability and quick change barrel that did not require any tools to remove and replace. It's a platform that has improved over the years. While initially there were ergonomic flaws such as an awkward select fire system based on how hard you pulled the trigger, now it stands out as one of the most respected rifles currently in service. The P90 is one of the most unique firearms ever created. People usually are surprised when I tell them the P90 is a bullpup. Brandishing the armor-piercing 5.7 by 28mm round made to bridge the gap between pistol and rifle rounds, the P90 is a compact, lightweight countermeasure against armored opponents. Its 50-round magazine rotates the 5.7 rounds into the barrel, making it a unique marvel of weapons engineering. A quick fun fact about the P90, it's Solid as Snake's signature weapon. The anti-material GM6 Lynx rifle is a great example of a weapons platform using the bullpup design to take an otherwise cumbersome package and make it more compact and manageable. This rifle uses a reciprocating barrel to mitigate the harsh recoil of the 50 BMG round. This rifle receives a lot of positive attention because of its bullpup system, for if it used a more standard design, it would be much more cumbersome. The DP-12 is a tube-fed bullpup shotgun that features two barrels. While this would normally create an unbearably unwieldy shotgun, the DP-12 uses the bullpup design to give you twice the ammunition with acceptable handling. So now that we've gone over how versatile the bullpup design can be, spanning from sniper rifles to assault rifles, SMGs, and even shotguns, let's talk about how bullpups are shown off and included in games. Bullpups are prominently featured in games for their unique eye-catching appearance. For example, Halo takes advantage of the unfamiliar to most, but obviously human design of bullpups by portraying almost all future UNSC weapons as bullpups. Bullpups suit the epic nature of Halo's gameplay, as your Spartan will raise the rifle upon reloading it, showing off each step of the reloading procedure, as well as exposing the full weapon model. Bullpups featured in shooters that are based on reality, for example Call of Duty and Far Cry, will normally portray the bullpup in a very specific role, which works well in tandem with the fact that the gun usually looks a lot more unique than everything else. So a niche role to suit the unique appearance of the gun usually makes it stick out more to players and will therefore attract them more to use them. In reality, a bullpup will most of the time try to fulfill the same role as a standard rifle. Modern militaries don't so much look for guns that are unique and fill a specific niche. If anything, they want to save money when they apply for a new standard issue rifle, and as such, they require that any given rifle meets a certain set of standards. The more modular a rifle is, the more likely it is to be adopted by a military. For those of you who don't know, modular refers to how many roles a rifle can fulfill. An example of an extremely modular bullpup would be the AUG. As I mentioned before, it has a quick change barrel, where a soldier out in the field can just twist the grip, pull out the barrel, and then put in a different sized barrel depending on what situation they're in and what they need the gun for. This means you can set up the AUG to be a standard infantry rifle, a marksman rifle, an LMG, or its most unique variant, the 9mm paratrooper setup, which is extremely light and mobile. While not very modular, the P90 SMG has found a niche with security firms, as it's extremely easy to conceal, whip out, and use while in a vehicle. For the most part, bullpups are normally employed in close quarters situations, for example, when you're in a vehicle. Militaries that have to fight in urban areas are normally inside. The compact nature of the gun makes it ideal for moving around and not getting snagged on anything. In comparison to, say, an AR-15 where, yeah, it's a fantastic rifle, but when you're indoors it can become a little cumbersome to get around certain corners. The only way you'd be able to make an AR-15 suitable for CQB would be by shortening the barrel drastically, which limits its range. With bullpups, you don't have to do this, because you can fit a longer barrel into the gun since the firing mechanism is all behind the trigger. So that's the primary usage for bullpups in real life, being a compact alternative to standard rifles. Some militaries that have adopted the bullpup design are as follows. You have Australia that has adopted the AUG. They've been using it since the 70s and show no real desire to change it. You have Israel that's using the Tavor to suit their close quarters indoor anti-terrorist operations. And then you have the enemy of the free world that uses the QBZ. Now at this point you might be asking, Pliskin, if bullpups are so awesome, why doesn't everyone use them? So let's go over some of the common critiques and complaints over bullpups. The first flaw has to do with maneuverability and comfort. Since all the firing mechanism and all the important heavier parts of the gun are tucked into your shoulder, bullpups tend to have more perceived recoil than standard designs. A lot of shooters also express discomfort from having the fire mechanism and the shells ejecting way too close to their face, so it tends to be louder, it can heat up, and generally isn't all that pleasant. The biggest complaint, however, probably has to pertain to the bullpup triggers. Many claim that bullpup triggers are very mushy, heavier, and all around just inferior to standard designs. So bullpups aren't the clear firearms of the future as games tend to imply. They come with many benefits, but they also come with a lot of flaws. Ultimately, it's up to personal preferences as well as situational context in regards to whether or not bullpups are better or inferior than standard built weapons. I'm Pliskin. I hope you learned something new today. If you did, leave a like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.